guys, welcome back to Bellwether Terrible. Today we're needing for got a cunning featuring our Ninetales from Rebel Clash, the old card with the Hex attack doing 120 damage. If our opponent's active Pokemon has the special conditions on them. So how do we put special conditions? We have our Weepinbell from Battle Styles with the Dangerous Mucus ability. So this ability allows you to burn and poison your opponent's active Pokemon as you evolve this card from your hand. We're only playing 2 copies of it just because we have 4 Scoop Up Nets to recycle the ability. We have 3 Bellsprout and 2 Weepinbell. 2 failsafe Yell Horn to help us confuse our opponent's active Pokemon just in case we don't get our Weepinbell. If we can't evolve it in our turn, if we don't set up fast enough, we may not be able to use the ability to hit 120 damage with our Hex attack. If we don't get it though, we actually get to confuse them as well with this item card. So this is actually the perfect card to be playing for your Ninetales. Plus, we're also playing the new Brilliant Stars Bibarel for this deck and 3 copies of our Choice Belt to help us do extra damage with Ninetales. So we get to do up to 180 damage passing the turn, 150 damage for this 1 energy attack, plus that 3 damage counter for your special conditions. So that's basically the main strategy of this deck. We're trying to do 180 damage every single turn, every strike with only 1 energy, stage 1 attacker, very strong. We have a lot of setup cards to help us bench fast and evolve to do our attack and also our ability. So we get to do our first attack fast and hit 180 damage every single turn against a V-Star or VMAX deck to do a 2-hit knockout. Or if they're playing a 1-price deck, we can actually collect our prize cards fast, 1 at a time with this turbo 1 energy attacker. So aside from having 2 copies of Bibarel in this deck, we also have our Cynthia, Bruno, Marnie, and Research to help us draw cards into our hand, Bird Keeper for the switch, Escape Rope 1 copy, and also Boss Order, and 1 copy of Rod in this deck to help us shuffle back our Pokemon and our energy cards as well. So not a lot of energies for this deck, only 9 copies of basic fire, but we only need that 1 copy plus our Choice Belt for Ninetales to do big damage for 180 damage every single turn. So that's all for the deck list. Let's wait for gameplay. Okay, let's go ahead for our first game versus a Psychic deck. They're playing Alcremie, Battle Stars, Brilliant Stars. I, for some reason, mixed up in my mind, in my head, I have it mixed up because this BST and BRS is quite similar. There's like B and S for both. There's BS in both, both expansions. So Brilliant Stars, the Alcremie actually does 40x damage from Rainbow Flavor for each type of energy you have in play. If you have like all 8 types of energies attached to your Pokemon, it doesn't have to be Alcremie, you get to attach to any of your Pokemon, so it's better always to spread your energies. I play my Alcremie with Kecleon, so if you guys want to check it out, it's in my channel. Alcremie Kecleon deck with the Chroma Shift to do 180 damage with your 1 price basic, and then Cafe Master, all you need is a twin energy on your Kecleon, and the right type of energy with your Cafe Master. And if you do your first hit with your Alcremie fast, you can actually collect the knockout with your Kecleon, hitting the weakness for 180 damage. 180 for a 1 price basic is not bad, you know. And if you have that Scroll of the Skies, if you're lucky enough to draw that card, it actually does a lot. If your opponent don't play Dragon types, obviously, and we actually don't have a Scroll of Skies for that deck, but I recommend to add at least 1 copy, just because Kecleon, you know, playing at least 1 copy is going to help you do, even if you only have that 1 copy, if you get it at just the right time, you know, it's always that jackpot card, right? If you have a jackpot card in your deck and you get it, it's going to be the best feeling ever to pull off, you know, to pull off that 1 card, that magic combo, that jackpot. It's crazy, right? It's like winning the lottery. So let's do our Ultra Ball right now. We're going to get something. We actually got Incense, so I'm not sure what we're gonna get here. If we Ultra Ball discard everything, we can actually get a basic and then Bibarel to draw 5 cards. I think that's the best bet. Oh, I forgot we needed to evolve first. Okay, we chose to evolve first, and we actually have a lot of level balls in our deck for that, but oh well. We need either a Bird Keeper, Escape Rope, or our Scoop Up Nets with the 5 draw, or at least a supporter card. Well, Bird Keeper is a supporter, but if we get a Cynthia, Marnie, we should be able to research. We should be able to draw out our Scoop Up Nets. Okay, we actually have a Crushing Hammer for this list. This is a bit different. So we have our Crushing Hammer, I think 1 or 2 copies, plus our Fan of Waves, just in preparation for Mew. So I actually swapped that for Yell Horn. I decided to change those cards, those item cards, for Yell Horn, just because this list doesn't actually have a Yell Horn. So if your opponent plays a Mew VMAX or any Fusion Strike cards like Meloetta, Ice Cube, or even Latias, I don't think you have a high chance of winning, but anyways, the only way to counter that is with, if they have a Fusion Strike energy attached, you can't use your Dangerous Mucus, obviously, because abilities doesn't work against their Pokemon if they have that special energy. So we can't rely on Weepinbell essentially at all. We have to either use our Confuse Ray with the basic Vulpix, or we can use our Yell Horn at just the right time, just before evolving our Ninetales, and then do Hex for 120 damage, killing off the Meloetta with 1 hit, or the Mew VMAX with 2 hits if we have... we can't actually kill it with 2 hits though, because it's Confusion, right? It's not Burn, it's not Poison. If they are lucky enough to pull off the Elisa fast, we can't actually do, or attach from their hand of Fusion Strike energy, we can't do our Dangerous Mucus, we can't Poison, Confuse, we can confuse them, but we can't burn them. So that's gonna be super bad because those extra damage counters count a lot for this deck. So this deck is not built against Fusion Strike, obviously. There are a lot of decks that is weak against Fusion Strike, but there are a lot of decks that Fusion Strike is weak towards as well. So if you play a Dark type, I don't think Fusion Strike can win at all. Like Mew VMAX is totally weak towards Dark type. Moltres, you just need a 1 copy of Moltres in your deck, really. But we can't afford to play Moltres just because we have no need. We can't afford to fit in any Darkness energy for this deck, and we need at least 2 copies for Moltres to attack. You could think about playing the 1 price Moltres, but even that, you need a lot of Darkness energy as well. So I don't think there's any way you can fight against a Mew, really. With special conditions, it's quite difficult. But if you're lucky enough for them to get confused though, if they flip a coin, you know, if they flip a Tails with the Mew, you can actually collect the knockout, and then if they don't use Psychic Leap first, so we run the risk with this deck of your opponent scooping up their Pokemon with either a Sharon, playing a Cheryl, healing their cards. You know, there's a lot of weakness for every deck, obviously, but this one is actually quite tricky to play just because it is a 2-hit KO deck, and now that V-Star is out, 1-hit KO is actually very, very in demand, just because you have no choice but to play those cards. You have no choice but to play a OHKO. If you want to play a one price deck, might as well do a 1-hit KO deck. So I'm eyeing on those OHKO for my next list, for my next video, just because 2-hit KO is not really that strong anymore. I don't think it's possible to make it work. That's why you'll see that we don't actually have a V-Star. We couldn't fit in a V-Star win for this video. So there is no V-Star win just because we couldn't manage to record it, because we lost too many times to all the V-Stars. Unfortunately, Arceus especially, I don't think I fought against any other V-Star, only Arceus. If you fight against any other V-Star though, I think you stand a pretty good chance if they don't play Arceus along with it. If against a Whimsicott, you can actually kill it with 2 strikes if you're fast enough, and I think we can actually be faster than it. We just need 1 energy. They can strike our bench with Flop Ball Star, but I don't think it's gonna do much. If they kill Bibarel, we got our supporter cards. We got Cynthia to set up the next one. We actually have 2 copies of our Bidoof Bibarel, so it's quite easy to pull it back out. We don't have a Manaphy, so they can hit anything, but they only got 1 strike. They can't actually kill 2 cards at the same time with that V-Star, so it's not really that powerful. So the main selling point for this deck is basically Hex for 1 energy. 1 energy, you get to do so much damage, and all you need to do is evolve 2 Pokemons, get your choice belt out, and you're done. So we got our Bibarel for those. We got our Bibarel to get our evolutions, energy, tool card, and even a supporter if we need a scoop up net. We actually need to scoop it up every single turn, which is a bit ridiculous. That's why we need to fit in at least 4. We need to fit in the max copies that we can. 4 scoop up nets in this deck, and only 2 Weepinbells, 3 Bellsprout just because we want to be benching it fast, and a lot of basic summons. Okay, that's enough talk about the list. I'm droning a bit, of course, but okay, so they are playing Xerneas with Alcremie and Bibarel. A bit boring, I would say. I don't think you can afford to play Altaria. I wanted to try Alcremie with Altaria, but upon afterthought, I don't think it's really that strong, because if you play your tempting tunes with your Primate Wisdom, I don't think it's even enough. You can get the Cafe Master into your hand, you can play it, but you can't actually draw enough to do much. You can't draw other things, you know, you need other cards. You need your Incense, you need your Twin Energy, you need your Switch, you need a lot of things to be able to attack while charging up, while using that supporter card at the same time. So how are you gonna draw enough cards to set up enough to basically evolve and attach enough cards to your Pokemon? Not only just play the Cafe Master, because the Cafe Master doesn't do much. It only does a triple energy attachment, and that's it. It doesn't help you get your evolution, it doesn't help you get your twin energy, it doesn't help you do anything else. You don't really need a twin energy though. If you got a air balloon in your hand, you can actually retreat from your active Alcremie to a bench Milcery, get an evolution card to evolve the Milcery after pulling off a mustard before the switch. Sorry, a mustard. I just called it a mustard. A Cafe Master. So Cafe Master first, and then attach an energy to a Milcery, retreat to the bench Milcery, and then evolve it to attack. That means you don't need a tool card. So you don't need that special energy. You don't need your twin double turbo for the twin energy cost. You can even do a energy switch if you don't want to add switch cards in your deck. But I think it's safer to do air balloon switch, because your opponent can quite easily play Galar Mines. Durant Galar Mine is very annoying. So it's better to fit in a healthy number of switch cards into your deck. I'm glad to say that this is a full one price deck, and we have 4 Scoop Up Nets plus 2 switch cards. So if they play a Durant, I don't think they stand a good chance, just because we have a total of 6 copies of switch cards to help us constantly retreat switch. And if they well, we just need to attack with Flickering Flames, right? But if they do yeah, that's the bad thing though. If they do Crushing Hammer enough times, they can actually deny us that second attack. So we need our Yell Horn against a Durant, I suppose. If they play like a Crushing Hammer, enough Crushing Hammers, we just need to attach that 1 energy to do Hex with our Yell Horn. But we need to switch twice. So we need to do a Bird Keeper, scoop up that. If we scoop up something else, if they boss the Bibarel, we are forced to waste our scoop on that for Bibarel. That means we can't actually scoop up the Weepinbell to recycle its ability. So that's the bad thing about Durant, is that, you know, control decks are quite annoying just because you have to waste your resources. You have only a limited amount of resources to spare, and sometimes you have no choice but to use them to spend them on certain turns, on certain deals, so that you get to attack fast and collect a few early prize. Otherwise, you're not going to have a chance to win. You don't stand a chance to win at all if you don't gamble on those sacrifices, and you really don't have a choice to make. You have to make that. You have to do the sacrifice. Okay, we did our Flickering Flames for the 4th prize. Now we're down to 2 cards left. They got 5 on their end. We actually don't have enough attackers though, so no rods for this list, I'm sad to say. This is one of the earlier versions, so the final upgrade, the one that I just reviewed earlier in this video, I keep repeating this almost every video, but you guys are probably way too familiar with this if you guys watch my video. But this list is a bit different just because I always record my decks in progression as it progresses. Sometimes, you know, at the middle of the video is where the list is a bit different, but I often jumble up the list sometimes just because it's good to experiment with different cards. It's good to see what works and what doesn't, so always experiment with different cards. Don't be like, you know, don't just follow the meta and be stuck to to a certain card. There's never a certain way to win a game. You know, there's never a bulletproof list. So always look for new ways to play the game. Look for new cards to add into your deck, and experiment. Always try out new things and see how they work. So I tried the Crushing Hammer, Fan of Waves. It doesn't really work as well. It helps you stall a bit. That Crushing Hammer can actually help you stall. If they play Arceus, you can do Fan of Waves to earn you that extra few turns, but, well, Shady Dealings is gonna help them. I tried, it didn't work, just because Shady Dealings is gonna help them Sharon and then buy them those extra few turns back, or even more turns for a second Sharon, and you can't actually do anything about it. There's nothing you can do. Sharon is totally it totally destroys all one price decks. Just because most one price deck rely on 2-hit KO, right? Not all, but most. Not Alcremie, obviously. Alcremie can actually do a one-hit knockout, but most cards like I don't know, Stage 1 basic, it does 160 damage for 3 energies. You know, cards like that. Even a Stage 2 like Corviknight. Off the top of my head, there's not a lot of Stage 2 cards that I can think of. Luxray. I don't think a lot of people play Luxray though. Torterra can do a one-hit knockout. Charizard can do a one-hit knockout. But Salazzle can actually do a one-hit knockout. But I don't quite like those decks just because everybody plays it. It's like the meta deck, you know, everybody already played it. Like I don't see any point of showing those decks just because it's already so common, and there's no point playing those combos. It's already out there. Like it's not a surprise, you know, if you win with those decks. I mean, you're not a genius if you win. You're not discovering something. You're not doing something magnificent. I mean, it's done. People have already done it. There's nothing impressive about it. It's lame. I don't know why people can't see that. They keep playing the same list. It just makes the game so horribly bland, colorless. You know, it's like gray. There's no color to it. This deck is a bit meta as well, so I failed to find a fun list to play with, so that's why I eventually settled on this 1 energy attacker. It is very fast though, turbo attacker, 2-hit KO deck. So same as my previous deck, I would say. Rapid Strike, 2-hit KO as well. But that one is actually better just because you don't need to rely on abilities to affect your opponent's board. One, you do need your ability to search cards with your Rapid Strike, like Octillery and Drizzile, but you don't need to affect your opponent with those abilities. That means if they play Fusion Strike Energy, you're safe. And we actually get to snipe the bench as well. Doing a bench snipe with Empoleon is actually really radical, just because Manaphy is out now and Empoleon still gets to do that. Empoleon V still gets to hit the bench. Look at that. Okay, focusing back on this game, we got Ninetales doing the second last kill on the last turn. Now we're trying to do our final attack. If we can't, we actually have a rod for this list. Oops, my bad. So I'm not sure. We don't have a Yell Horn, but we have a rod. Okay, no Yell Horn, substituted for those energy discarding controls. Fan of Wave and Crushing Hammer. So Alcremie, they need either a Raihan or another Cafe. I think they actually pull off a Raihan a few turns on like one of their previous turns. Experience Share, Raihan, what else can they play? Cafe Master, I don't think there's any other cards to attach the energy. Experience Share is probably the best, because you get to keep on retrieving as long as if you attach to like a Bibarel, you can actually play like I don't think you need Air Balloon. You can play Bird Keeper switch to retreat to basically switch it out from the active spot if you get stuck there, and then Experience Share is gonna keep on, you know, activating every single turn on the same Bibarel, that means you get to keep on collecting that energy cards on the same Pokemon. If you experience share to Alcremie though, you're probably gonna have to attack with it on the next turn, and if it gets killed off, the tool card gets discarded. So it's better to attach to like a secondary attacker or a bench support, a ability support. But sometimes that air balloon can actually work better. It really depends on this, the matchup and what you're up against. If you play against Tool Jammer, Tool Scrapper, I don't think Experience Share is gonna help out at all. Tool Jammer doesn't work against Experience Share, obviously, but Tool Scrapper is gonna completely remove that. And the only way to retrieve it is with either Roseanne, or Roseanne only helps to shuffle back one copy though, one copy of your tool card, or your Granbull, which is a stage 1, which actually isn't worth putting in your deck. I don't think you have the space for that stage 1 in a Brilliant Stars Alcremie deck. It's just not practical. It doesn't work. And if you attach it, you have to pass the turn hoping your opponent don't pull out another Tool Scrapper, which is quite ridiculous, right? Because if they did it on their last turn, probably gonna do it like again. Possibly, not probably, possibly. So I think they're about to concede here. Because we actually could do our final knockout on the next turn. We can't do it yet, actually. Yeah, it's not done. We have to actually pass the turn. We got one card left in the deck though, so if they Marnie us, we're still fine. If they don't, we're still fine. We got that one final turn to collect the knockout. If they boss though, I think we could actually die, right? If they boss the Bibarel, I think we're stuck. We may have the final copy of the Escape Rope inside the deck. We may have a switch card left in the deck. I don't know. So our best bet is to boss and then evolve into the Ninetales to do our final attack. Boss order to kill off the Alcremie because we don't actually have any more scoop up nets. I'm pretty sure we have no more scoop ups. So I was thinking of maybe retreating the Bellsprout just because if they do something else, we can actually evolve, poison the other active. If they don't, if they pull a Marnie and we don't get our boss. There's so many things to consider though, you never really know what's gonna happen. If they play a Marnie, what are you gonna do? If they boss you, I don't think there's a way we can recover from that because we already used up our switch resources. We're down to no more switch cards. We have used them all. It's all discarded. Okay, 4 energies. They only need 2 copies though. 2 different types. 90 damage. They need 3 more strikes. But honestly, they just need to boss something on the bench. Because we got 1 turn left. We drew too many cards. We should not have done the Cynthia. Always check your deck. Always check the number of cards left. Because if you draw too much, you're gonna basically screw yourself over. If we don't have that Marnie at the last card or a switch card, I think we're gonna be screwed. We don't actually have both because we got 1 last card inside the deck. It could even be an energy card, so this is actually quite bad. Yeah, I think they decided to concede right here. There we go. Because they couldn't even attack this turn, which is a bit sad. I think they did their supporter card as well. So no boss, no Marnie, we're safe. And that's it. We could even do a Bellsprout. We don't even need to evolve the Ninetales. We can do Bellsprout to kill off the bench with a boss for the final prize. So this list actually has a Yell Horn and no Crushing Hammer or Fan of Waves. And we're up against a Poison deck. Poison type. We're gonna discard maybe the energy. I think we're just gonna discard Cynthia. I think that's like probably the smartest move to be playing. So this list actually has a lot more quick balls. I decided after playing this game to fit in more level balls just because we can't afford to discard anything from our hand actually. Even though quick ball actually helps you draw later on, if you evolve your Bibarel fast and if you get your quick ball later, you can actually discard cards from your hand to draw more cards into your hand, kind of the same as your Ultra Ball Bibarel combo. Quick ball helps you discard as well, but I don't think you need to discard anything. You just need to play everything, right? You just need to play your bench your basics, evolve your Pokemon, play your item cards, and scoop up your Weepinbell, bench it, attach your energy. I don't think you need to discard anything unless you're unlucky enough to draw nothing but energies into your hand. I don't think that happens too often, just because we have like a very balanced ratio for this deck. I've made sure of that. We have only like 2 copies of each supporter max and 9 copies of basic energy. That's not a lot. A lot of item cards that you can basically discard from your hand by playing it, and only 4 copies of each Vulpix Ninetales. Well, that's like the maximum, but only 3 copies of Bellsprout and 2 Weepinbell, 2 Bibarel, 2 Bidoof, and no other Pokemons. We don't have a mana fee, I'm sad to say, but in exchange for that, we have like faster, you know, a faster gameplay, I would say. So it would have actually helped us if we did our quick ball to discard the Ninetales just now, but we chose not to just because, well, you never know when you're gonna top deck, right? It's better just to save it. So I think we're gonna quick ball right now. Oh, we chose not to, okay. Garbodor, they need 1 more turn to attack, thank god. They attach to the Toxic Rogue just for the retreat, which is a bit weird. I would have waited for my switch card. I suppose they wanted to do the ability. I don't think they need the ability though, because Garbodor does 120 damage. They don't need to do that much damage. They just need to kill our Pokemons fast. I think they're preparing for a VMAX or a V-Star. You never know if your opponent is going to play a V card. It really is, you know, it really is a mystery sometimes, but I mean, they should have been smarter to know that we are not playing any V cards. A Ninetales without a V is quite common, right? I mean, it's kind of expected if you're playing an attack that requires so many support. So we need our draw support, we need our ability, you know, our special condition support, and also the tool card as well. So it's quite a lot to pull off actually. You may think it's easy, but it actually is quite a lot you need to do. You need to bench everything, at least 1 copy of each Bellsprout, Vulpix, and your Bidoof fast. You need to evolve everything by your second turn to be able to hit 180 at least. If you want to do 180 max, you need to get your Choice Belt out as well. You need to scoop up your Weepinbell at the same time so that you get to prepare on your next hit on the next turn. So there's so much you need to do, so much. Within your first turn, you need to summon as much Pokemon as you can. On your second turn, you need to evolve everything, scoop up to prepare for the next turn, and attach that energy Choice Belt. And you need to keep repeating that. You need to keep repeating the cycle. So it really is down to the list, how good your list is. If your list is balanced, if you have the right ratio in your deck of supporter, Pokemon, and energies, you can actually recycle the effect quite easily. You can do all of those. You can repeat the evolution, scoop up net, attack, choice belt, evolution, scoop up net, attack, choice belt quite easily. Obviously you need to bench something as well, so there is a lot of things you need to do. You need to keep on benching either both your Bellsprout and a Vulpix, or just your Vulpix and a scoop up net. So this is the risky part of this deck. We're only relying on that 1 Bibarel now. Bear, 0 support cards in our hand. But we did 180 damage at long last. We did our first 180 against the Garbodor. the VMAX. Now we just need one more strike with a choice belt and you're done. I don't think we need a choice belt now because they got a tails with the burn. So now we just need to hit it with 120. If they got burn again, I don't think it's enough though. I think we need a choice belt because that's 150, right? Oh, 150 is enough. Okay, 150 is enough. They got another tails though. That's sad. So now we just need to evolve our Vulpix and get that one energy, but I don't think we did it this turn. So sadly, we couldn't manage to pull those cards out. So you'll see later that this deck is a bit temperamental just because we're playing 3 stage 1s. It is a bit clunky, I'm sorry to say, but we have our Cynthia to draw more cards though if we are stuck for some reason. Got a Research, Escape Rope. We can't play the Escape Rope, so sometimes it's better to swap it for a switch. But if your opponent play like a VMAX in their active spot, a new VMAX with 0 damage counters on it, if they play a clean VMAX and force you to hit a new attack, to collect a new knockout, then you can actually do Escape Rope to target any one of their bench to draw the final few prize cards. If they keep retreating to the bench and avoiding the knockout by forcing you to attack a new Pokemon. So we got no Ninetales. Look at that. Isn't that sad? We have to basically knock it out later because they're probably gonna retreat to the Slowking on the next turn and then evolve and attack. Hiding energy. It's a bit weird because now I don't think they can attack. They are attaching one energy at a time, so I suppose they are a bit slow. We got a bit unlucky though. We do have 4 Evolution Incense and 1 Ultra Ball for this list. Same as the final list. 4 Incense, 1 Ultra Ball is a lot. Plus 4 copies of your Ninetales. I mean, it's quite unlucky that we didn't get it. I believe quite a few is inside the prize card. So I'm not sure if we do want to do the ability first or research. So we actually had to discard all 4. That meant we should have done our rod for another energy. So let's do Hex our 3rd time. I think it's actually the 2nd time though. It's only the 2nd time, sadly. Let's evolve the 2nd one while we can. There we go. The game sometimes freezes, sorry about that. And we're gonna Hex for 180 damage. 150 plus the damage counters. So we got our choice belt at long last. We got choice belt for the 2nd one as well, but we're choosing not to attach it just because if they play Tool Scrapper, it's gonna be discarded before you even get to do the damage boost effect. Before you even get to hit the first time, plus 30 damage, they already discarded it. So it's better sometimes to keep it in your hand and then attach it once the first one gets discarded with the Tool Scrapper or gets knocked out or something like that. So make full use of your first choice belt by attacking as many times with that same Ninetales, and then once they discard it with either a Tool Scrapper or a knockout, bring out your 2nd one. I don't think it's that difficult to bring out the 2nd one because we have Bruno, Cynthia, Bibarel to get our cards. I'm pretty sure it's gonna get out quite easily. We got 3 copies of that tool card anyways. Okay, we're gonna kill off the Slowking right now, doing 180 damage a 2nd time. There we go, we finally get to do it. We don't even need the choice belt though. Yeah, we don't really need it. We shouldn't have attached it just because they're already dead. Because they flip a tails with the coin flip, the burn. So it's already, it's already 150 damage plus the poison burn. If we add the choice belt, it would be like a surplus of 30 more damage, which is unnecessary. So now we just need a Garbodor knockout to win the game. We got no more Vulpix. We're gonna have to rely on Weepinbell. So this is gonna be a bit different. This game is gonna be a bit challenging, just because we have to pull off a Bellsprout. We have to kill the VMAX with the Bellsprout. Venoshock plus Choice Belt is actually enough to kill it. But I think we just need to pull off Venoshock and the special condition. So they got 70 HP remaining, my bad. 80 HP remaining. And we can only do up to 50 damage with our Venoshock. So that means the special condition is going to collect the knockout. The burn poison is going to kill the Garbodor VMAX. We don't need the Choice Belt at all. 50 is just right. Venoshock for the win, look at that. We won with a silly Bellsprout. Isn't that ridiculous, to say the least? Boss order. Bruno, Marnie. So this is my first time playing Bellsprout for the knockout hit. It's not actually too unusual. Once you've run out of your Ninetales, if you actually bench your last one late, if you can't, rod and summon at the same time, you may have to waste one turn, an entire turn, just to bench your Vulpix. And that's gonna force you to pass a turn attacking with something else. Possibly a Bibarel or even your Bellsprout. It's better to attack with that 1NG Venoshock for 50 damage. It's not a lot, but we can actually collect the knockout against a V card. If they play a Zacian V or anything that has lower HP, lower than 280, we can actually do Venoshock to kill them. But always remember the resistance. Zacian is resistant to Grass type, so Bellsprout is a Grass type, does 30 less damage to Zacian. And if it's a Fire type, if it's a Metal type, it's gonna be weak towards our Ninetales anyways, unless if they, attach a coding energy from your hand. So that's why Fan of Waves is actually that much better. But only in specific situations though, which is why I don't like it. Fan of Wave helps you against Fusion Strike decks, against Metal decks if they play coating, but not against so many other decks. So many other decks, it's actually better to play Yell Horn, just in case they kill your Weepinbell fast. If they can boss twice to kill off 2 Weepinbells, we actually need to find our deck for that one copy of Rod to shuffle back our Weepinbell, and instead of using it, saving it for our Ninetales, we have no choice but to use it for our Weepinbell, so that we get to do the ability and attack, do as much damage as we can fast. Otherwise, if we do it too late, we're gonna lose the game quite easily. So we finally figured it out. We finally figured out the puzzle of the Venoshock, how to scoop it up, how to retreat switch. So we actually need to retreat. I think there's only one order. You can't. There's only one way you can win with this, with the amount of cards we have in our hand. There's only one route to victory. One route to victory. No other road to success. Just because the game is already that confined. So we had no choice but to retreat with Bellsprout after doing the scoop up. Because if we retreat before scooping up our Weepinbell on the bench, then we're gonna have to scoop it up in the active spot, or offer something else as the active Pokemon while scooping up the Weepinbell on the bench, which is gonna be bad because we're gonna have to retreat. We're gonna have to put forth a new active Pokemon that isn't a Bellsprout, which cannot attack this turn. That means we're gonna have to pass the turn not attacking, giving the Garbodor VMAX a free turn to retreat onto the bench or even heal those damage counters. So healing decks, I don't think we can win. If they play Mimikyu VMAX as well, we don't stand a high chance. Mimikyu gets to bypass Menafee just because they're playing damage counters, so there's a lot Mimikyu can do, but there's also a lot it can't do Because if your opponent plays a dark deck, if your opponent plays a Salazzle, they can kill it with one hit. 300 damage is all it takes. If they play Choice Belt, my bad, Big Charm is not even enough to prevent the knockout. I mean, 30 HP against, I don't know, against a V-Star, they just need 2 strikes. You can play a Cheryl, but only that many times. You can't afford to discard your special energy too many times. Only 4 copies of Double Turbo can you fit into a deck. So Mimikyu VMAX is quite useless, really. You never really know though. Some people are smart enough to find just the right combos. I've seen people using it with Medicham V, which is like the coolest card ever to be playing with your Mimikyu. Mimikyu, Medicham, and Inteleon. Or any other bench snipes. You can even play the Rapid Strike Inteleon VMAX. But I think they played a Rapidash with Mimikyu and Medicham. Carbine Control. If you guys want to check his channel, he's quite creative in terms of control decks. He built quite powerful control decks. I don't quite like control decks because, I mean, Zorok. One word, Zorok. That's a control deck. And I believe that's quite stupid, really. Zorok is actually quite silly. I mean, you have to waste so many turns, and if your opponent get the right cards into your hand, you're completely screwed. I think I've won quite a lot of times against that Zorok control, but a few times I actually lost just because they, I don't know, they got lucky, I would say. Floatzel, very annoying card. They can keep recycling their item, their Paw Pad, Crushing Hammer, Galar Mine. They can't recycle the Galar Mine, but they can put it in the deck to prevent you from retreating. I'm talking a lot of bullshit, aren't I? Like, I'm not focusing on the game. So let's focus right now. You're playing a Lucario with Meta V to protect their bench. I don't think a lot of players are watching, you know, they are not coordinating that well because they may not be familiar with the game yet. It may be a guest player or like a beginner or like an intermediate player, because I don't think it's smart to be benching a Menifee because we're not even striking the bench, right? There is no chance in hell a Ninetales Weepinbell deck. I mean, if you're playing a Weepinbell, it's definitely going to be a Ninetales, right? That specific Ninetales. There's no chance in hell it's going to do a bench snipe. So there's no point benching that Menifee. You're just wasting that bench spot. Or even giving us a boss or the knockout, a free 1 prize. If we do a boss Flickering Flames, we can actually save our Weepinbell because we only have that many scuba nets to spare. So don't waste your scuba nets if you can help it. Use your boss Flickering Flames to collect extra prizes. Okay, we got our second prize. Killing 2 Snorlax in a row, I think. Not too sure. They got 0 prize, but they're probably gonna attack us on the next turn. So Roaring Resolve for 130 damage. If they do Raihan, they can do a little bit more. 180 damage. Choice Belt, 210 damage. It's not really that strong, is it? Lucario. Because there is no cards to attach the energies. There's gonna be a Gritty Pickaxe, a pickaxe card, item card for the next set, which allows you to excavate the top card of your, you know, if the top card of a deck is a fighting energy, you get to attach it to your fighting type Pokemon on the bench, if I'm not mistaken, and then, you know, if it's not an energy, you can draw it into your hand. So it's basically excavating that card. Not discarding it though, so I don't think it's exactly excavate, because you don't discard anything at all. Okay, 1 Bibarel, same on both players and only one copy of the ability support. So if any of the Bibarel on both players end dies, that player cannot draw unless they get their supporter card. And I think we already milled ourselves enough. We have 30 cards left, quite a lot though. So I don't think we can survive without Bibarel at this point just yet. We need to wait a couple turns to draw out everything, you know, compress the deck until we have just the right ratio of supporter cards. We need a high percentage, definitely a higher percentage of supporter just because we used up a lot. And we used up much less of our other cards. I think the ratio is a bit off balance right now. But we do have one Bruno in our hand, so I don't think it's too bad. We need to scoop up our Weepinbell. Evolve the other Bellsprout and Hex for the fourth prize, and then we got 2 left. This deck is pretty standard. I mean, it's like the most standard card ever. I don't think there's anything creative about it. The only thing that we are adding is Choice Belt Bibarel, and that's it. There's nothing really too smart about this deck, but I suppose we're trying to pull off a fast fast 2-hit KO strategy. I mean, Pokemon, if you played it for too long, you actually run out of ideas, and I'm at a point where I finally decided to, you know what, let's just go for the wins. Let's not focus on the creativity, let's just focus on the wins. Sometimes you get, you know, you get into the mood, the spirit of wanting power rather than color in your life. But not every day that I'm like that. It's not every day I behave that way. Only on occasion where I feel a bit, I don't know, depressed. Not really depressed, but a bit frustrated with this game. Because you're up against Arceus, they always win. It's a bit sickening to watch Arceus win all the time. So if you can afford to kill an Arceus, I think it's worth sacrificing your imagination, I would say. I don't think anything is worth that though. Always preserve your humanity, and part of humanity is your imagination. Your personality requires you to have enough creative imagination to craft a new deck from scratch, a deck that no one else's can or think it's possible to win in the meta format. No one has ever used before, no one ever actually, it's not on anyone's radar, and it actually surprisingly works really well. You know, that's the deck that I want to be building. Every single day is a huge challenge. I mean, against those meta Lucario, meta Arceus, meta Mew VMAX, meta, everywhere people play 𝓿𝓾𝓷𝓷𝓲𝓷𝓿 all the time, shady dealings. I mean, it's impossible. How do you face against dumb people playing the same old shit cards every single day? It's just ridiculous. This game has become so boring, so stupid. There's no way you can play any other cards. They don't give you the free space. I mean, the V-Star is a huge change to the game. It changes the game way too much, I would say. You can't afford to play 2-hit KO strategy at all. Nothing works. They're forcing you to play Charizard. They're forcing you to play like one-hit KO decks. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's only that many. It shouldn't really be that strong, you know. The Arceus got Dunsparce to protect it from weakness. It got Sharon to basically heal it from all damage counters, and then you can Trinity Nova to the bench, Sharon, and then keep on attacking, repeating the cycle of the Sharon with shady dealings is ridiculous. It's insane. It's way too broken. Like, come on, there should be something to counter it. You can't make it. It's not fair to make a card that broken. It's just not right. I don't think it's right. There's something wrong with some people's brains, I think. I don't think they're smart enough to think about like the consequences of making that card way too powerful. It's really, really stupid, I would say. Now everybody plays an Arceus. Everybody plays a V-Star. You know why? Because that's what they want. To hell if I'm gonna play a V-Star. So we got our final prize with the Ninetales, and it appears we're gonna do everything. We're gonna do our Yell Horn and our Evolution, our Poison Burn. We get to even do a Bird Keeper. We got 8 cards left in the deck. They gave us a Trading Court. So we have the luxury to do everything. Winning against the Aura Sphere Volley. Is it Karina? Karina's Lucario? I'm not sure if it's Karina. I don't think it's Karina though. Some other fighting type trainer has like the Mega Lucario, right? I forgot his trainer. Oh, the movie. Reynard or something. I forgot his name, but he's like, he has the blue hat and the blue costume. I don't know. Lucario's master. There's also a female master, if I'm not mistaken. Lucario has a male master, a male trainer for the movie, but a female trainer for the game, which is a bit weird, I would say. Or maybe I'm like mistaken for... Maybe I'm confusing the game with something else, I don't know. Sorry guys, I'm not too sharp today. I'm not too sharp about the game just because I don't really play anything but the TCG. Because it is so time consuming, it's so draining, it's addictive, not because it's fun to play, it's addictive because it's, I don't know, it forces you to fight for the wins. If you don't fight for the wins, then, well, there's no point playing a game, right? And it's so difficult to get a win with this game, so difficult. Especially if you're playing non-meta decks. So here comes the Stonjourner. It's actually quite a rogue one, this list. Stonjourner with the heal cards and your Stone Gift to heal even more. You got your Full Face Guard or even Big Charm to add HP. Stone Energy to buff. So it's like a mega buff rock type. Basically blocking as much damage as you can, heal, tank, and then slowly doing your max rockfall for that 200 damage. When you can afford to attack, once you have healed enough damage, and if you can prevent a knockout hit on your next turn, and if your opponent is about to kill your Stonjourner, all you need to do is bench another one. I quite hate those decks. Crazy tank decks like Dracozolt. Oh my goodness, Dracozolt is so maddening. Oh my god. I think the only way to kill a Dracozolt is a single strike Urshifu, because they got the bloody big charm. Rapid Strike Urshifu with a Choice Belt maybe, because you just need to Gale Thrust for 180 damage, multiplied by 2. There's no way they can protect from the weakness. There's no way an electric type can prevent a weakness knockout. There's no way a fighting type can either. So if we play a grass type, I don't think we can Bellsprout for the KO, but if we have a high damage attacker with a grass Pokemon, we can actually kill the Stonjourner with one hit. So we confused it, and they conceded because they were confused. Look at that. They couldn't do the Stone Give, they got no special conditions recovery, and they got only that one copy in the active spot. I think they probably prized the other copies. So no bench Pokemon means they can't retreat, they can't switch, they can't recover from the confusion, and that's why they conceded. Isn't that crazy? They Boost Shaked way too fast, evolved with the Boost Shake. That means they can't recover from confusion. Oh my god, that is so funny. So I suppose Dracozolt is weak towards that, right? They are weak towards confusion. Ridiculous. Paralyzed, confused, special conditions. Paralyze only works for one turn though. Okay, now we're up against Popsicle Knight. He's not Popsicle Knight, but he's playing PK's deck. I hate PK so much, because his decks are so cheap. His decks are cheap and useless. And overrated, I would say. He's so overrated. I bet he advertises his video, like he paid. I know I'm being like a bit paranoid and a bit crazy, but I mean, he has to, right? If you search for any deck on YouTube, like anything on YouTube, like if you search for example, a Torterra deck, he hasn't made a Torterra yet. So if you search for Alcremie deck, Mimikyu VMAX deck, anything, his video is gonna be one of the top few decks that you see on the search engine. I have no idea how he did that. I'm pretty sure you have to pay someone for that to happen. Like, you have to show the ads, right? You have to pay the Google ads or something. I mean, I'm wondering how much he pays for those things. And he keeps getting more and more views. I have no idea how people do that. I mean, my views get capped once I have like more than 500 views, or more than 200. If I'm lucky, more than 5. But most of my videos only get 200 recently. So 200, and then it gets capped, and then it rises really slowly, but it still rises 1 or 2 every single day, which is fine. I'm happy with that. But his keep on rising, like 100 every day, 100 views every day is madness. Like, that's not real. You have to be paying someone for that. It's not real. It's so fake. YouTube is all fake. You can buy your subscribers, you know. I just want everyone to know that. You can buy it, and YouTube allows it. YouTube allows you to buy everything. Your subscribers, your views, your comments even. It's ridiculous. And it's just allowed. Nobody does anything. Nobody says anything. And you don't get paid for it, by the way. If you pay for those comments, you're not gonna get paid for it. They're not gonna show ads. They're gonna still show ads, but you're not gonna be paid for it. Someone else, a third party, is gonna get paid for it. You're gonna get paid much less. That's how the system works. It's so stupid. YouTube is stupid. I'm probably gonna... I don't want to get banned, but YouTube is ridiculous. I wonder who controls the world. Probably some idiot. I mean, idiots get to survive. I keep saying this, but I believe it to be true. If you're an idiot, you can survive much longer than those who take the time and effort to think things through, to basically, you know, make something of their life and, you know, do something fulfilling and work something out, make something meaningful for themselves and for others. You're probably gonna succeed more if you do nothing. If you're selfish, if you do nothing with your life. I'm sorry to say, but that's the truth. That's the way the system works now. It rewards idiocy. It rewards morons. If you're moronic, if you follow everyone else, if you play meta decks, if you act dumb, if you're a moron, if you behave like a moron, which is what they want you to behave like a moron. The more moronic you are, the more you're gonna succeed, because that's what they want. Whoever it is that's controlling this corrupt world, this world is completely corrupted. There's no way this world is gonna reverse. There's no reverse for it. There's no reset button. This is total deprivation. It's gonna keep being worse and worse and worse. I'm being raped every day, mind raped. They're stalking me every day. I don't know, it's just ridiculous. These people, I don't know who they are, I don't know what they are. It's pathetic, you know, they're pathetic. They have nothing better to do with their lives. They're so pathetic. So they're playing a Wobbufet with the Luxray, and both players, as you can see, is getting like a bad hand for the start, but we are slowly picking up the pace. It really depends on who is gonna pick up the pace faster. They didn't get their switch card on the next turn, fortunately. I'm giving off spoilers, but they are confused. That means they are forced to switch. And Popsicle Knight doesn't play enough switch cards for his deck. He never plays enough switch cards. He always play like 1 or 2 copies of V card, like a 𝘿𝓾𝓷𝓷𝓲 or Wobbufet, and just ignore those switch cards. How dumb is that? You can't afford to play your V, your heavy retreat cost V cards, without your switch Bird Keeper. He doesn't play Bird Keeper for his decks. He never plays a Bird Keeper. So stupid. Bird Keeper is like an essential for any deck. At least 1 copy, like come on. It helps you draw, it helps you switch. He has no Bird Keeper. All he does is switch Escape Rope and Air Balloon, and he doesn't even have enough copies of it. Scoop Up Net with Snorlax. His favorite thing is Scoop Up Net with Snorlax. If you do a Scoop Up Net in your deck, you better not have any V cards in there. Scoop Up Net with a V card, how dumb is that? So we should not have attached our third energy. That was a very stupid thing to be doing. We attached our energy way too fast, giving them that free knockout with the, what's it called? What's the attack called? Energy something. But the first attack does 50x damage for each energy on your opponent's field. So we have actually only 2 energies right now. That means on the next turn, They're only doing 100 damage, but 100 is all they need if we attack with the active. So I think our best bet is to retreat and attack with our bench if we are smart, but I don't think we did it for this game. I'm sad to say, because I'm still, like, this is still on the initial period. This is one of the earlier games where I'm still experimenting and testing the waters. But it's not too bad though. We're not doing too badly just because both players still have the same number of prize cards, and we actually are a little bit ahead of them. So we decided to attach energy again. I mean, I don't know why I did that. Oh well. We should have just retreated to the Ninetales. I think we were trying to do Flickering Flames for maybe the sleep effect. Oh yeah, we don't have a scoop up net, so we have no choice. We are forced to use the second attack. We are forced to do Flickering Flames and hope that they go to sleep. So that's the bad thing about not playing a Yell Horn. We don't have enough scoop up nets for this list, not enough Yell Horn. So this is the provisional list, and we didn't actually do that well just because we still won though. We still won this game. I just want you guys to know. We won against Popsicle Knight. It's very easy to win against him. He's not really that smart. It's very easy to win against his deck because his decks are so horrible. If he doesn't play a meta list, it's not gonna work that well. If he's not playing a meta VMAX like a Urshifu single strike or a Arceus or like a Mew VMAX, he doesn't play Arceus. But if he doesn't play all those meta cards like Suicune or Shady Dealings, he always plays Shady Dealings in his deck. Shady Dealings and, you know, what else is there? Off the top of my head, I can't remember any cards. I just said one just now, but I forgot that. But those meta decks, if you play a meta deck like a Mew VMAX or a Urshifu single strike, Rapid Strike is not that strong anymore. That's why he doesn't play it. So single strike anything, and also those one price OHKO decks is gonna be very strong now, like Salazzle, Weepinbell, Salazzle Butterfree, your Charizard decks, Pachirisu with Honchkrow. So all of those decks, he's gonna build those, plus a little bit of changes. I think that's smart, but not too creative. It's smart to take advantage, to exploit the system, but not every time, you know? Like, it doesn't show off your skill. It doesn't show off how good you are at playing the game, and that's what you want to be showing off if you want to get to the top. But apparently, dumb people gets to win these days, so he's actually supporting that. He's supporting the notion of being dumb. Let's all be dumb if we want to be successful. So I think we actually killed off the Luxray with the Flickering Flames. We got lucky with the sleep condition, and now they don't actually have the lightning energy to attack, and they pass the turn. Look at that. They got a capture for the Wobbufet, but it doesn't actually work for Luxray. So that's proof for you. It's proof for you how inconsistent his deck is. His decks are so inconsistent. He has a capture for a Luxray when it doesn't even work for the attack cost. I mean, you can't afford to play a capture. It's ridiculous. He didn't even get his lightning energy. He couldn't even attack on that turn. How silly is that? Luxray is not really that powerful though. That's why I don't build a deck from it. I don't see any potential for that card. There's no potential for that ridiculous card. It's a stage 2 and it does the same as the useless. I played Espeon VMAX before. It's the same attack. It's totally useless. I think it's actually super strong right now against Arceus V-Star just because you got so many energies on your Arceus. It's quite smart to target that, but other than against those high energy attackers, I don't think it does much. If your opponent can quite easily choose not to attach energies as well. If they choose to do Trinity Nova without attaching to their bench, they can choose not to. Then you're only going to do 150 damage for that one energy attack. Stage 2, you're going to pull out a stage 2 for 150 damage, and your opponent is probably going to play a Sharon to basically erase all of those. If you can't do a one-hit knockout, it's not good anymore. So that's why I say this game is not playable. They're forcing you to play nothing but meta decks. It's not playable, this game. It's so confined now. There's no way out. It's a prison. They're creating a prison. Forcing you to play Rayquaza, Ice Rider. Ice Rider couldn't even do a knockout. You can't even kill a VMAX with one hit. Forcing you to play Arceus. It's ridiculous. Even the Regidrago is not even enough. A Regidrago with a Choice Belt is not enough to kill a VMAX. Sorry, it's not enough to kill a V-Star. And Arceus can survive that. You need something like a Zigzagoon, which is just gonna be ridiculous. Like a Zigzagoon for that one damage count is so boring and stupid. It's making the game so dumb. Zigzagoon for everything. I mean, come on. It's so boring now. You don't get to experiment with new cards. Everybody plays standard format. You know why? Because they're trying to make you dumber and dumber. They're trying to force everyone to follow the rules and follow the system. Is so boring. I mean, don't anyone see that? Am I the only one? The same fucking decks every day. The same fucking decks. It's so lame. They're like zombies. Lifeless. It's so lifeless. I'm sorry guys if I'm shouting, but I'm yelling at you guys, but I'm a bit stressed out because this past few days I've been facing a lot of harassment. My neighbors have been harassing me. Psychopaths everywhere trying to rape me, trying to destroy my life. But I'm persevering as usual, trying my best to stay afloat. Not too well, not doing too well, but trying my best. So we could have hit the Boltund that turn, but I don't think it's gonna do too much. 180 damage is not enough to kill it off, and they're probably gonna retreat anyway, so I don't think there's any point doing that. Azure Pulse, they can do Bibarel and Azure Pulse, which is horrible. So they just need one energy, one fire for Rayquaza to kill every single turn, and maybe Cheryl at the last minute. Switch, retreat. They got Tower of Water, surprisingly. I don't think that's that smart. It is interesting because you got a different sort of trainer card. So if your opponent play Tool Jammer, Tool Scrapper, you can still retreat with your Tower of Waters. If your opponent plays Stadium cards, you can still retreat with your Air Balloon, but I think it would be actually smarter to play Escape Rope, Bird Keeper, Switch, because those cards are guaranteed, right? It guarantees you that switch. It only does it for once, but it guarantees you the switch. Whereas with your Tower of Waters, it doesn't work for Boltund, it doesn't work for any other cards but Rayquaza. They may have a Zera in their deck though, Zeraora, but yeah, that card is not that good anymore just because of Menifee. So Zera with Menifee, is obsolete. And they made the mistake of attaching with Electrify a second time. So sometimes it's smarter not to play Electrify just because I don't think they have enough switch cards in their deck. So you'll see on later that they actually decided to concede because they couldn't do the retreat. They need another energy from their hand for Boltund to retreat, or a switch card air balloon. But apparently they already attached the air balloon to Flaffy, and we did the Marnie, which apparently is got them a bit frustrated. But we did take quite long though. So you'll see that I actually was a bit afraid of doing the attack right now. If we do our Hex for 180 damage, we can't kill off the Boltund. They have a high chance of retreating to kill us off with the VMAX. So it's kind of better if we don't have any more bench Vulpix, we're done. So it's kind of better to retreat and save our Ninetales, so we get to do our attack on the next turn. But they conceded. There you go, they conceded fast. Probably can't even do a retreat on the next turn. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy your life.